All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikakwadash. Double honors to my apostles and elders at Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to all you Akim out there pushing this truth across the four winds so we can seal the elect and make it to the kingdom. It's the brother Yurah, Lord willing, coming back to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Lord willing to feed the body and edify the sheep in all spirit, faith, truth, sincerity, and doctrine. All right. And as you can see with the title, all right, of the woman came the beginning of sin. Okay. Of the woman came the beginning of sin. And what I want to speak specifically about the woman, all right, is this I want to respond to this story that I came across dealing with the mother. Okay. As you can see in YouTube, this is fair use, fair use. Okay. All right. I'm not making any profits off of this video. It's for educational purposes only. Okay. But this is from the channel Police Insider. All right. I like watching these body cam videos here, just to get a peek in on what's going on in the world and Jake, because it's mainly always dealing with Jake, and other nations, of course, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, woman, and child, but, mainly Jake. And as you can see with the title of their video, Revenge Turns into Life Sentence for Mom and Son Duo. Okay. All right. Now, this is the mother right here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to play the entire video, so I'm gonna give you a rundown. I'm going to play a little bit of it. All right. And Lord willing, is edifying to the body and it feeds the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right. But this is the mother here. Okay. This is somebody that just works at the, I believe it's Home Depot, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, this is the mother here. Okay. Now, there was a young lady that also works in the store. She works in the store as well, the mother. And she was shot 7 times by her baby daddy, okay, which is her son. All right. And right after the shooting happened and the police got there, she runs up, all right, and act like she didn't know what happened, and as you can see here, she fell all on the ground, you know. Excuse me. Let me see if I can get a better. Yeah, see, she falls, she falls out, really putting on some good theater, right? And come to find out, she actually egged the whole thing on, man. You know, she actually pushed her son. All right, she was talking to her son right before this this murder happened, with this young lady. All right. And they actually revealed that through text message threads that they you know got from I guess the son's cell phone. She deleted the messages, but the son kept the messages. Okay. So I want to play it right here from 44 minutes. All right. I'm gonna play a little bit of it, and then we'll get into the scriptures. And once again, Lord willing, is edifying to the body, and it feeds the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. It shows that these women are wicked, man. These women are wicked, man, and she has to be in her like 50s, maybe. Mid to late 50s, maybe. But it's all about the mindset, man. Okay, you can't go off of the age anymore. Okay. All right. I done ran into young children, all right, that were more bright, more intelligent, more had more integrity, all right, more common sense than the average, so-called adult or even elderly man or woman. Okay. So age doesn't mean anything. Okay. All right. If you got demons, you got demons on you, man. Okay. Let me play it here.
My mama, he said she'll go shoot up Mama Casey. I think he's not gonna shoot Casey. She said, well, he shot at their house. She said, well, he'll kill.
And they're interviewing her too, right here. All right. So they're interviewing her and also revealing to her, the text messages. I believe they already started reading it to her. So now she's trying to explain herself.
My mom, I said, Brooklyn, no, mom. She said, don't let him go. I said, we called the police. She said, he told me, and you can ask her mom this. If I called the police again, he was going to kill my mom.
In her text messages, Sheila had even come up with an alternate plan for Keith, one where he could kill Brooklyn after her shift, making it look like a drive-by and ensuring it didn't happen in front of Casey. But Keith took a different route. He even stopped his vehicle for a while, contemplating whether or not he should go through with it. But his mother's texts fueled his anger. Ultimately,
See, so as you can see, he even stopped and started contemplating if he should do it or not. But his mother, she egged him on. You see, and I believe they read a text message where she actually called him, a B, the B word. Stop acting like a little B. This is a woman, man. Okay, this is a so-called mother. These women want to be praised, for being a mother. Oh, I raised such amount of kids, and woo. Look, they're demons, man. Okay, you want to be praised for something that you were set up to do in the first place, man. And where's the father? Where's the father, man? You see, because when that young man was going through whatever he was going through with his baby moms, the father could have been there to, talk some sense into him before he even thought about doing some crazy things like that. Like killing his coming to his girlfriend or baby mama's job and killing her. And here it is, the woman, the mother, all right, just egged him on. You see? Now I want to fast forward it, man, to get the results of it. Like I said, you can go check out the video for yourself. All right. Let me go ahead.
It don't affect me.
And then after that, I told her, as we move in the bathroom, from the bathroom, I'll be back. And I understand what you're saying.
So that's why you're being charged with first-degree premeditated murder, principal.
for their crimes, Keith was charged with first-degree premeditated murder, and Sheila was charged as a principal to first-degree premeditated murder. Both were held without bond. During their trial, prosecutors presented surveillance footage showing Sheila pacing around the store for about an hour, texting on her phone and frequently looking out the front door, evidence that proved her role as a lookout and facilitator. Although her defense tried hard to portray her as someone who was actually trying to stop Keith from killing Brooklyn, she was ultimately sentenced to life in prison without parole. The judge also found Keith guilty of murdering Brooklyn in a fit of rage, believing she had given him an STD, and he too was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Prosecutors later
At 20 years old, man, these are all young, she's young, he's a young adult, she's a young adult, and now they have a daughter that's, just left out there with no grandmother, no mother, or no father, and it all stems back to the woman, man. Okay, the mother, she egged the whole thing on, she egged the whole thing on, man. All right. So I want to get these scriptures. This is the book of St. Job, chapter 14 and verse 1. And it reads, man that is born of a woman is a few days. Okay. Life is short. All right. And full of trouble. Okay. You see, trouble meaning afflictions. Okay. All right. Many troubled days, afflictions, man. Okay. All right. You go through hell because guess what? You're born into hell. Okay. All right. When you're born on this earth, man. All right. You're definitely gonna have trouble in the flesh, man. Okay. That's the world that we live in right now, man. Okay. You see. Now, you could even apply this to this situation as far as this mother. Okay, this so-called mother right here. Okay. All right. Because you had the son. He's born of her. All right. And, he was only, lived a free life. I don't know exactly how his life was, while he was, so-called free, but here he is, he's 20 and he gets sentenced to life in prison, man. Okay. You see, only 20 years, man. That's young, man. you know, and I don't know how old, you know, the baby mama was, man, you know, but she looks young too. She probably was, you know, 20, you know, and she look, she's back in the spirit world, man, you know, all because of a woman, man. Okay. Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. Okay. I also want to get this, man, pertaining to the mother, man. It goes back to the curses, okay? Because she is an Israelite, okay? She's an Israelite, okay? And her son was an Israelite, okay? All right. And that woman, you know, the baby mother was an Israelite, okay? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56, and it reads, "The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, are for delicateness and tenderness, okay? Love, care, mercy, okay? Tender loving and care, right? These women don't have that, man. All right. It says her eye shall be evil toward her husband, okay? All right, of her bosom, okay? The man that she so-called loves, you know, her eye is going to be evil towards him, man. Look, and toward her son and toward her daughter, see? And toward the young one that cometh out from between her feet, all right? Even a newborn baby, man. Okay? Most of these women, all right, if you're not walking in, you know, you know, the guidance of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, in faith and sincerity, all right, which not a lot of women are, not a lot of our women are, okay, then you hate the man that you're with, and you hate your children that you had by that man, okay, or those men, all right, because a lot of you have many baby daddies, okay, and that goes back to the curses as we're reading right here. You see, your eyes shall be evil towards them, man, okay. Proverbs 14 and 1, and it reads, "Every wise woman buildeth her house." Okay, yeah, she buildeth her house. She brings structure to her household. Okay, what is her house? All right, going into the Hebrew word bayath. Okay, which means house. All right, but in this case, all right, a home. All right, house as containing a family. Okay, so pertaining to a family. Okay, family of descendants. All right, descendants as organized body. All right. You see? So every wise woman buildeth her house. Okay. She buildeth up her family, man. All right. It says, but a foolish what? A foolish woman plucketh it down with her hands. Okay. She destroys it. She tears it down. Plucking something down is tearing it down. Okay. She tears down her family, man. Like this woman did, man. She tore down her family. Okay. Now she's in prison for life. All right, her son, who she was supposed to be raising and guarding and you know, protecting, right, is life in prison, has life in prison, and her stepdaughter is back in the spirit world, you know, because of her actions, man, and her granddaughter, all right, which I don't know how old the granddaughter is in this video, all right, but I'm presuming it's a you know, a baby, you know, but now her granddaughter is without a father or mother or grandmother, all because of her egging her son on, egging her son on, calling him a B. You know, if you keep dealing with this, if you deal with that, you're a B. Oh, and then another thing too. All right, let me finish this off because they actually revealed. Because remember, it said that this all started because the son, all right, her son, all right, got an STD. All right, and he believed that he got it from the baby moms. Okay, you see, that's how this started. All right, but in the end, come to find out,
Tried hard to portray her as someone who was actually trying to stop Keith from killing Brooklyn. She was ultimately sentenced to life in prison without parole. The judge also found Keith guilty of murdering Brooklyn in a fit of rage, believing she had given him an STD, and he too was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Prosecutors later revealed that Brooklyn in fact had no STD, but she lost her life because Keith gave in to a rage born out of a misconception.
see, She didn't even have an STD. You see? All right. All right. They look, that's why it says in the scriptures, all right, uh uh um, you know, what does it say? You're supposed to Salaki, I remember I forgot exactly what it says word for word. All right, but you're supposed to examine the whole matter before you judge, man. Okay? Examine the whole matter before you judge. Okay? He didn't examine the whole matter, man. Okay? You see, he found out he had an STD and just automatically, went into that rage and blamed her, and then his mother fueled the rage, and now look, they're both, pretty much dead. You know, all right. Book of Ecclesiastes 7:26, and I find more bitter than death the woman. Okay, see this is why you have scriptures like this, man. Okay, I know you feminists want to harp on brothers out there teaching the truth of the Bible. You guys hate women. You guys hate women. The Bible hates women, and da, 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 da. But it's truth. It's truth, man. And a lot of you people, especially you women, don't want to deal with truth, man. Okay, all right. You don't want to deal with truth, man. And that's why they had that phrase out there in the world: truth hurts. It does. It hurts you people, man. Truth only hurts those, all right, that love lies. Okay. All right. Ecclesiastes 7:26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart or her mind, right, is snares and nets. Okay. A trap. You see? And her hands as bands. Okay. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, shall escape from her. See? But the sinner shall be taken by her, man. And that's exactly what happened to the son, man. Okay. All right. He was taken by, the wicked woman, man. Okay. That's why the scripture says what is it? A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, roughly paraphrasing. Okay. All right. But even in this case, even his mother, okay, is a wicked woman, man. Okay. And he fell by her. You see, he was taken by her. All right. You see, but us in his truth, okay, the Lord delivers us from a woman, man. So don't be, I don't care how much you like a woman or how much you was really vibing with her or feeling her, man. The first thing pops in my head when when a woman gets disenchanted with me or she doesn't like me anymore, or stop calling or texting or whatever, man. I say, hey, the water Yahweh Shemel Shai, because I know it's a reason why the Lord removed that woman away from me, man. Okay, and that's how you got to look at it, man. So it's a reason why the Lord removes a woman out of your life, or removes anyone out of your life. Okay. Especially a woman, man. Okay. Always look at it like, the Lord's protecting me. Okay. Excuse me. And I'm going to read this last one, Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 25, verse 19. And it reads, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Okay. So all wickedness, man, is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. You see? All right. So Lord willing, the Lord protects us from these wicked women, man. Okay. All right. Or this wicked world in general. All right. So I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, it's edifying to the body, and it fed the sheep through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Shalom, and Abba Ball.